welcome back to my channel. I'm Azzy, and for today's video, basically, I'm gonna just discuss on how you find your style. And for me personally, I would just say style is just the way that, like your persona, the way that you put yourself out there with the way that you dress. And there's been like moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what my style is. Like, how, like, I don't even know like what to wear, how to dress, what would be considered something that's like me. So basically, I'm just going to talk about how I find my style and what that looks like for me and for anyone that's struggling or feels like they don't know how to express themselves with fashion in a way that is authentic to them. So I'm going to give like 5 tips. So the first tip is just when it comes to style, there's many different categories, and types of style like streetwear, grunge, chic. There's a lot of different types, and sometimes we try to categorize ourselves into just one. And I think realizing that we are allowed to have more than just one aesthetic or style per se. So for me, I started learning that more down the road when I really started to experience with the way that I dressed. I realized, like, hey, I love to be really girly sometimes, but I also love just super baggy streetwear, like just grungy, dark clothing as well. And I realized that I can do both. And that actually made me feel more confident and happier when I did get dressed up or just when I was, out and about. So I would say just not sticking yourself into just one kind of like aesthetic or style. If you feel like you like two different extremes, I actually love that, and you should, how should I say this? You should, oh my goodness, guys, I'm gonna brain fart. Express. You should express both sides of those extremes. I feel like that's what makes your style feel more like you. So that kind of just puts me on to my next tip, which is to be authentic. Authenticity, I would say, is the absolute key to your style. If and you can tell when someone's style is authentic to them. At least I feel like for myself, I can tell. I mean, because obviously I know myself, but even people around me, they're like, wow, that outfit really looks like something you would wear. So if someone tells you that, I feel like it just shows that you're really styling yourself and wearing clothes that shows who you are. And I would say that's like the best thing to do, because clothing, at least for me, is a way to express my feelings and a way to express what I like, what I even dislike. It's just a way for me to express emotion, and it's just like a form of art for me. So if you can express yourself through your clothing without even having to speak, like someone just looks at you and they kind of just know who you are, like I feel like I love that because it tells a story. So just stay authentic to yourself. Don't try to be someone you're not with your clothing. And what I mean by that is, I feel like when you put something on, sometimes you can tell, like, I don't know, I feel like this doesn't really feel like me. And that might sound like cliche, but at least just for me, I know that when I'm wearing something that I can just tell that I'm like, this isn't really for me, like it's beautiful, but it's just not for me. So my next tip, I would say, is not being afraid to experiencing with different types of clothing styles, patterns, textures of clothes. And I know, like, I'm not trying to contradict myself. I know I said, not to, at least for me, I can tell when something's for me, when something's not. But sometimes experimenting with that is how you find out. So maybe I don't wear patterns a lot. So, like, you know what? I'm going to experiment with patterns. And I'm either going to like it or I'm not. And that's the best way to find out. It's just experiment. I love patterns and I love mix and matching stripes, polka dots, like any pattern I will mix and match. Some people, that's not for them. Some people are like, don't mix and match stripes and polka dots. But hey, that's just me and I like it. So don't be afraid to experiment with that. I think that's the fun of it, is seeing something that like catches your eye and you're like, hey, like I wouldn't usually wear that, but I really like that. I would just buy it. I would get it and I would see like how I feel, style it, and sometimes it might take you down like a whole new route of style for you. Like you'll realize like, wow, I really, really love patterns. And now you have like a new journey to embark on because of that one garment that you chose to experiment with. So, yes, and then the fourth tip I would say is I'm like forgetting. I should have wrote this down. I'm kind of just saying it from the top of my head, just kind of like what is like feels authentic and just kind of just comes out naturally. I don't want to force anything. But I would say is oh yeah, there you go. Have fun with your style. So, I feel like sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves to look really good or have like perfectly matching outfit or just the perfect fit or something like that. And I think just relaxing and having fun with it and letting like the imperfections and the flaws show. If your shirt has like a rip in the armpit, embrace it. Like just embracing those little flaws and imperfections and letting go of any like pressure to look like a certain way or to just make sure that your outfit doesn't have like a single crease. At least for me, I know that like I should probably iron some of my clothes. I definitely should, but I don't. But that's just me, I just feel like it adds character, at least for me. So just have fun with it. That's really how I started. I feel like I would at first it honestly was kind of like a dread to me, when I would dress up. And I think it's because I was dressing in an authentic way. So it took all the joy out of it for me. But then when I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna dress the way that I want to dress, and I don't care like about anything else. I'm just gonna go all in with it. And once I did, it was so much fun and less stressful too. Like to choose an outfit in the morning, I kind of just like pick and grab, because and then I just put it on, and I'm like, all right, this works. But yeah, and then for my fifth tip is to get an inspiration. We live in a world of fashion where I live in LA, so there's so much fashion inspiration here. But honestly, just in the place that you live, find that inspiration. And it could be inspiration from like other people's clothing, or it can be inspiration such as nature around you, the sunset. Your makeup can be the inspiration, just like any kind of inspiration to kind of make your fashion or your style just more unique to who you are. Sometimes I get bored of my clothes, and I'm kind of like, I only thrift my clothes and I don't have like a wide range, but I try to work with what I have. And sometimes I just need inspiration, and that's why there's other people out here that, share their style to give you inspo. And I would say, like, don't feel bad for like using the inspiration that you saw, or just embrace it. And maybe you can turn it into your own style or sense of fashion. But I would say those are my tips. I hope that they helped you. That's kind of just like what I learned and what I went through as my journey when I went on my journey. Oh my gosh. That's kind of just like what I learned, and just kind of like I feel, oh my goodness, I'm choking up here, guys. Choking up. But basically, this is just what I learned when I was going through my journey of trying to figure out what my style is and how to really embrace and have fun with fashion so that I feel good and I look good and I just feel like myself, just stay authentic. That's like my number one tip, is just be authentic and don't be afraid to express that authenticity. I have so much hand movements. I'm sorry if that bothers you guys. I just like get so into it. But thank you for watching. If you guys want more videos like this where I give you tips, you don't have to follow any of these tips. This is just my personal opinion and just what worked for me. But if there's anything else that worked for you, let me know. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.